In this video, let's talk about the power of self-reflection. To reflect on yourself means that you're going to be more aware of yourself. So you see that self-reflection is extremely powerful in increasing your awareness. You become more aware of yourself. When you become more aware of yourself, you start to know yourself better. When you know yourself better, you actually know others better. When you know yourself better, you seem to know the world better. You know your life better. So self-reflection is like the ability to see yourself. It's like looking at a mirror, sort of say. You start really seeing how your mind works. You start seeing what's in your mind. You start seeing the patterns of your mind. You start understanding what your skills are, your talents, your natural gifts. You start seeing everything, but you have to be willing to look. And that's why self-reflection is so powerful. It's so important. Because if you don't look, then you don't see any of those things. What do most people want? They want to control their mind and master their mind. How can you master your mind if you don't even know what the mind is? How can you master your mind when you're not able to watch your mind? How are you going to master your mind when you don't even know the patterns of your mind? Got to self-reflect. Because then you start seeing things that you weren't aware of. So like I said, self-reflection is essential for increasing your awareness. You might go to work, someone gets you all upset and triggered and angry. Self-reflect. Why did I get so upset? It's just questioning why. What happened there in that situation? I was so balanced before, but after that conversation with that coworker, I'm now shaken. I'm rattled. I'm off my center. I'm not balanced anymore. So we can start looking at that, right? With self-reflection, I'm able to start seeing that. I'm even aware that I'm now rattled. Most people aren't aware. It's like they go through life and some conversation happens and then they're just all rattled, but they don't even know that they're rattled. Self-reflection is reflecting on that situation. In this example, reflect on the situation. What happened? Reflect on how did I react to that? And once you start seeing the reaction, the pattern, the unconscious pattern, you start seeing it, you start realizing what was the trigger. Oh, that trigger wasn't actually in that person. That trigger is actually within me. They said something, but that then brought up something within myself that hasn't been seen and healed and loved yet. So then it got me all crazy inside. But see, that's what self-reflection can reveal, because it's looking at the situation, then it looks at you. That was the situation. How did I respond? How did I react? What was the pattern? They said something mean. I said something mean back. It's like I just blurted it out unconsciously. I didn't even mean to say that. What happened? I felt hurt. Yeah, but what's feeling hurt? Who's feeling hurt? Where is that pain? Where is it? Where is it coming from? What's the source of that pain? Have I rectified that pain? Have I healed that pain? Have I resolved that conflict within myself? You start bringing up all that stuff because you're looking, because you're self-reflecting. Self-reflection it's like, yeah, you're still looking at situations and seeing, oh, there's a situation. That's what happened with my wife, is something like that. That's what happened with my coworker. That's what's happening with my kids. So looking at the situation, but self-reflection is like noting the situation, and it's looking, and you're turning around. It's like you're holding up the mirror, but how did this one react to that? Did this one really respond, or did it react? So it's turning the mirror, where now you're looking at yourself. People who don't self-reflect, they're always blaming the outside. They never look at themselves. It's always everybody else's problem. Everyone else, it's all their fault. How can you go through life like that? That's living like a victim. Everyone is in control of you. You're suffering at everyone else's expense. They're the cause of your suffering. They're the cause of your unhappiness. But that's not true. Not at all. We look at that once we start self-reflecting. We start seeing. So self-reflection is an empowerment. We become more aware of ourselves. We start to really look at what's really deep within us. Oh yeah, there's that unresolved issue. There's that conflict in me. There's that negativity in me too. I'm a little jealous, a little shameful, a little selfish. So you start seeing, it's easy to see in others these things. It's easy to say, that person's, they're jealous. That person, they're way too prideful. That person, they are selfish. It's so easy to see it in others. It's seeing it in ourselves that's difficult. And that's where self-reflection is a tool to do that. Self-reflection is the mirror. If self-reflection was a tool, it's a mirror. So you can start seeing within yourself, because you're taking that time to actually look at yourself. Those who look at themselves see that. If you don't look at yourself, then it's hidden, unconscious, in your unawareness. You're not aware of it. You're not aware because you haven't directed your attention on yourself to see that. So most people are focused on others. When you self-reflect, you start focusing on yourself. Once you start focusing on yourself, that's where growth can actually happen. You can start growing. You can start making the necessary changes on yourself. You can start evolving. Because you start exposing more of yourself. You start seeing deeper. You start seeing deeper levels of yourself. It's like this mirror. You can then start penetrating deeper, deeper, deeper. And you can start seeing yourself. And you start understanding yourself more and more. And then it gives you better knowledge of other people. Because in essence, we're all the same. It's like the deeper you actually meet yourself, you go in 4 layers deep, let's say. You've met yourself on a deeper level. Because you've met yourself on a deeper level, you can actually meet others on a deeper level. People who haven't really met themselves on a deep level, they're so superficial. They're only seeing the outside layer. They haven't actually met deeper parts of themselves. So therefore, their relationships with others are very shallow, superficial. They can't have a deep, meaningful relationship with another because they're not having a deep, meaningful relationship with themselves. So it will improve your relationships with self-reflection. It improves every area of your life, self-reflection. Sure, you're gonna see some things that are uncomfortable. Sure, you're gonna see the negativity, the jealousy, the greed, the envy, the pride, the shame, the guilt, the blame. You're going to see all those things that are very uncomfortable. But it's when you see them that then now you're aware of it. And when you're aware of something, then you can change it. How can you change something that you're unaware of? You can't. You can't. So self-reflection is looking at the mirror so that we see ourselves, different layers, different dimensions of ourselves, and we're able to then become more aware of ourselves. So we start seeing ourselves more of the totality instead of just one layer and we're missing every other layer. Just one dimension and we're missing all the other dimensions. So it's very powerful. You'll see also with self-reflection that not only are you aware of things, that it seems to be a catalyst for growth. Just that tool of holding the mirror up, that will start accelerating your growth. Those who don't self-reflect, the growth is very slow. It's almost like there's a stagnation. But it takes courage. It takes courage for self-reflection because not everybody wants to see themselves. They're so afraid. They're so afraid to look in the mirror. They don't want to see themselves. For a lot of people, it's too painful to look in the mirror. And that's at those lower levels of consciousness where there's a lot of hate and shame and blame and guilt. That's very destructive to one's life. Instead of higher levels of consciousness that's supporting one's life. So all those kind of lower, which would be like uncomfortable, negative experiences, need to be seen so they can be transformed. They need to be seen so they can be transmuted. They need to be seen so they can be healed. How can you heal yourself if you can't see yourself? So you're able to then start penetrating different things. Oh yeah, here's the skills, here's my talents, here's the mind, here's the personality. There's so many deeper levels. When you go to the deepest level, you find yourself as pure awareness. But you're only able to get to that through self-reflection. By looking at everything else. When you start looking at everything else, you start seeing how impermanent other things are. You start to see that you're not your thoughts. You're not your personality. You're not your body. You're not your mind. You can only see this. It's only revealed when you start looking. So if you want to know yourself better, then self-reflection is needed. If you want to accept yourself as the whole, then self-reflection is needed. If you want to heal yourself, self-reflection is needed. If you want to love yourself, self-reflection is needed. If you want to be free, self-reflection is needed. And you'll find the more you self-reflect, the more you grow, and the happier you are. That's how powerful self-reflection is. Covered a lot of things. And I know I'm missing many more. But simply just having some time to self-reflect. And there's many ways. Journaling could be one. What I used is simply just having it always on, really, is always self-reflecting. You'll find that as you self-reflect, you develop more of what's called like a witness consciousness, to be more aware, where you're able to witness things. You're able to witness the body-mind, perform different activities, react, respond, lack of response, more reaction. But the more you're able to see that you're reacting, then you're able to transform the reactions into responses because you're aware. You catch yourself in unconscious states. You catch yourself resisting life. You catch yourself holding on to life because you're reflecting. Oh, I feel like shit right now. Why is that? What happened? What's causing that? At the core level, I'm causing that. We cause our own happiness and unhappiness. Suffering is optional. But it takes self-reflection to see that it's optional. Unhappiness is a choice. But it takes self-reflection to see that I'm choosing to be unhappy. So if I want to be happy, then I have to start seeing, well, why am I choosing to be unhappy? What choices am I making? So I have to look. And once I start looking, then I start seeing, oh, it's because of this. It's because I'm holding on to this. It's because I'm resisting this. It's because I'm believing this. And then I start seeing. So you see how powerful self-reflection is. If you want to be happy, start self-reflecting. Start self-reflecting as much as you can. At the start, if you're new to it, then simply something like the end of the day could be good, a good start. And then throw in like a minute at lunchtime. And then you have you can do it kind of paired up with your meals, let's say, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And just after that, just a little bit of that, then you're able to then start doing it, which should be almost like moment to moment. At the start, it's going to feel like, yeah, you sit down at night and maybe you journal, write one page, reflect on your day. But you see, it's like too slow. You catch things reflecting on your day. It's like you catch things too late. That's what I'm saying, is it needs to develop. That self-reflection needs to develop where it's always in the background. It's always in the background. You're having some heated argument with your girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, partner. In the argument, you should be able to, you want to get to the point where you're able to see it before it even comes out. No, this is going to cause them. If I say this is going to cause them, this is going to make it worse. So you're able to see it. And it's instantaneous. So then you don't say it. That's where that self-reflection gets really good. That's where I said you develop that awareness. It's laser sharp. You see things before they even come out. You can catch yourself before it comes. No, I don't want to hurt this person. I'm not going to say that. And that happens like that. Whereas most people, they're just saying hurtful things back and forth. Whole day's ruined. Takes the partner 4 or 5 days to process all that argument. I threw gasoline on the fire. I made it worse. I'm burning the whole house down, essentially. Kids are seeing it. Partner doesn't like me. Takes a whole 3, 4, 5 days to cool off. Let those flames die down. Okay, 5 days later. What were we even arguing about? What was that fight about? You say you don't know. I gotta make it about me. I say I don't know. She says she can't forgive me. Bitter, resentful. Yeah, but what? I don't know, but you just said some mean things, hurtful things. Right? Reflecting on that 5 days later, it's way too long. It needs to happen ideally right after the situation. Then you start getting good and you're starting able to reflect during it. Then that's how you start catching things. But at the start, developing this, it needs to be in those situations. Something happens. Maybe you just need some time. And I've talked about this in another video. The power of being alone. So you just take a walk. You just take a breather. Just leave the room. Do some self-reflection. It doesn't have to take long. It's just the very act of holding the mirror. What happened there? Right? It's like you ask yourself instead of blaming the outside. You're in some argument or you got hurt or something happened. What happened there? You're holding up the mirror. What happened there? How am I feeling right now? What am I thinking right now? Right? Why am I so stressed? Why am I worked up? Why is my heart rate elevated? Why is my blood pressure going through the roof? Oh, because they pushed my buttons. Yeah, what's that button though? What button did they push? Why do I even have a button that can make me feel bad? And who gave them permission to push that? So 1, I'm not going to allow people to push that button. 2, I need to find where that button is in me. Because I'm going to remove that button. Why do I allow someone to push my button to make me unhappy? That's being disempowered. That's not being empowered. If I'm going to allow you to push my button, and this button's called unhappiness, no way. Not a chance. I'm going to find that button. I'm going to remove it. There's no way you're pushing that button. And I'm going to make sure of it because I'm going to remove that button. So now that button doesn't exist. You can't make me unhappy. I'm not giving away my power. My power is my happiness. And you don't control it. That has to be a change of an attitude. That has to be looking at where's that button? Why do I allow people to get under my skin? It's my skin. Who says you're allowed under it? Right? What else do people say? They push my buttons. They get under my skin. You really get on my nerves. They're my nerves. Why are you getting on my nerves? I'm not allowed on my nerves. They're my nerves. You got your own nerves. Stay to yourself. Right? But why do we let people have that power? That's what I'm talking about in a lot of these videos, is to be empowered, we have to find out that we are that power, but we're unaware that we are that power. So by self-reflection, we start to see where we're leaking that power. And that's why it's so powerful. When you self-reflect, you're able to see where you have energy leakage, when you're leaking your power, when you're giving away your power. Here, you want some power? You want some power? You want some power? Now I've got no power. I'm disempowered. I've been giving it away. And I'm only able to see that through self-reflection.